Hey everyone, welcome back to the recovery channel of OCD Recovery, where I'm going to talk about something that Momin brought up on the webinar yesterday, which was how to start your OCD recovery, the beginning stages. And he said one of the most common things that people will say to us when they're 1, 2, 3, 4 years in is, why am I not where I want to be? I'm X amount of years in. And even though you might be on the journey for X amount of years, it doesn't mean you've been working on recovery properly. So let's say you've been in for 2 years and you've never read the books, you've been half-assing recovery. The day you actually start taking it seriously is actually day one. Even if you've been in our WhatsApp groups or the Facebook group or following YouTube for multiple years, that's just the reality of it. There's just no other way to say it. And this is very difficult for people to hear. I made this mistake myself. I'm going to talk about my specific examples, what affected me in this way. Some things I took more seriously than other things, and I had to learn the hard way. I paid the piper. Before I go any further, please subscribe. Hit that like button down below. Let me know what you think about this video at phil@ocdrecovery.com. And thank you again, Phil, for all the hard work that you do. So how many people come in for whatever amount of calls, whether it's 1 or 20, they do some of the work, they've been in for 2 years, and they're still really stuck? A large majority. Not because that's the way the journey works necessarily, it's because they've been on the journey for 2 years or 3 years or 5. There are people in my original WhatsApp group that have never really actually worked on recovery in the correct way. I have pure sympathy and empathy. I've done this myself. I understand how difficult it is to really get the ball moving, the ball rolling. And they say they get really upset. Why am I not better? Why am I still having physical symptoms? What is going on? Well, that's because you haven't actually taken it seriously. If you've been going to the gym 4 days a week for a few years and you're just half-assing on your phone, not taking it seriously, never burning you're going to burn calories, but never sweating, you're not really working out, you're not pushing yourself, you're not challenging yourself over and over and over again. Or are you going to be as far as someone that goes to the gym, pushes themselves reasonably, has failure incorporated, takes some deloads and times off when their body needs it? That person more than likely is going to be much further ahead than you. Take money. How many people make XYZ amount of money, but they don't invest or save or have a rain check account? They're making money. They're on the journey of their career, but they're not actually building the necessary steps to maybe live below their income or get a second job or build another business, whatever it is, or get more clients, whatever the example. So just because you're on a journey doesn't mean you're taking it seriously. Now, I took sensory motor seriously more than anything else. My fear of rejection, all the lying I did, all the fear of not being successful, my extreme body dysmorphia, I did not take that seriously for a couple years after I met Rob. I didn't even stop watching adult websites till January 1 of 2022. And I had met Rob in 2019, and we talked a lot about my addictive behaviors, all the cheating I was doing, and all the bad habits, the video games. Remember, I had met Rob in 2019. I was on the journey. I didn't even put my video games away until May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Always say that. Of 2020. So 5-6 months until I put that away. So you have to be realistic with yourself, and you have to be dead honest with yourself, right? The true actual definition of vulnerability. The word vulnerability is one of those other words that has lost so much of its meaning because it's used so wishy-washy in a very sensitive way. But vulnerability it truly is this. I've been on this journey for X amount of time. I have not taken it seriously. I have to learn to accept myself for my fallibilities and my failures. And now I'm really going to try to take it seriously, which means all the time in the past doesn't matter except for right now. That's the reality of working on recovery versus being on the journey. And this is such an important topic for us to discuss. And think about all those examples: the gym, the personal savings, the investments, OCD recovery, being in a relationship. Just because you're in a marriage does not mean you're a good partner. Most people are shit partners. Most. The vast majority. How do I know this? Because I was a shit partner. They have terrible communication skills. They're only thinking about themselves. They're not compromising in their relationships, whoever they're in a relationship with. They don't have any balance whatsoever. They're not good at doing things that the other person wants to do, even though they don't want to do it within reason. And then they wonder why their relationships failed. And they blame everyone else. They call everyone else toxic. Is the person you're with could have been toxic? Sure. Or is the probability that every person I talk to, that every person they're dating happens to be toxic and it's never their fault? No. That's never the case, right? People need to look in the mirror, and because vulnerability is actually, in my opinion, synonymous with tough love. Tough love to yourself, not rigidity and anger and beratement. Tough love with compassion and sympathy and understanding is synonymous with vulnerability of, no, I have to do what's necessary to get better. So really think about this. Phil@OCDrecovery.com. Always great to hear from you. Please don't sit in silence. We work all over the world. We can help you if you need a translator. We do make that possible if we can. And I hope to hear from you soon. And remember, there is always hope. So, and hear from you guys soon. Have a good one.